We start this part with a mission for our favorite trio as they investigate the Yasuhachi Bridge. They visited Fushiguro's school, got some answers, all leading them to heading below it together. This time, it's because it's just straight up stupid for Fushiguro to have gone alone, so he has them come in the beginning, not just like them joining after to surprise him. Like, he has a friend who has a broken curse technique. There's literally no reason to do it in this timeline. So, the underpass of the Yasuhachi Bridge is infiltrated, activating the innate domain of a cursed womb. Yeah, one of Sukuna's fingers was ingested here. I can feel it. Stay on guard. Kugisaki says, yeah, but for now, sounds like we gotta play a little whack-a-mole. From behind them, however, as they're ready for battle, a curse seeps through the cracks of the set barrier. Huh? Someone's already here? Asked Kechizu. Moving with the step, Yuji appears right before it, touching his torso as it's turned to a folder and enters the archive. However, almost instantly, his brain explodes with knowledge. Huh? Already? As he thinks this to himself, he's snapped out of this trance by Fushiguro, who asks him what's wrong. That wasn't a curse. It was part curse, part human, and forced into a human body through a ritual. I'll go through this portal. As he runs for it, it begins to close, but with his next step, he releases cursed energy through his entire innate domain, freezing the contours of the barrier and stopping the closing as he then runs through the exit and out onto a road. And, of course, along with him comes Kugisaki. What are you doing here? I said to stay. Oh, shut up and dodge. Both then avoid a piercing wing king attack that tears through concrete as from the shadows, and so uses these wings to fly through the air or move through the air, if you want to say. So that one, it's also part human, part curse? Yeah, I'll save it real quick. He moves in, leaping and coming face to face with Eso, who's taken aback by his speed. He instinctively swings, but is ducked and touched as he's warped to a folder as well, and then instantly archived. Yuji descended and landed safely, looking to Kugisaki as she ran over, and he says, we need to hurry back. But the nod, he then runs towards her, grabbing her, and in a burst of speed, he moves faster than a bullet before leaping to the mountainside. Was he always this fast? Thinks Kugisaki. After so many black flashes in his lifetime and the energy now residing in his archive because he literally saved it, he has received the benefits of having an increase in cursed energy by 50%, putting him in the same realm as the likes of Yuta. And maybe Yuki. Yuki doesn't really count. Like, Yuta has more cursed energy than everyone in the verse, except for Sukuna, apparently. So, after getting over the mountain, they run back through and enter the innate domain, seeing the finger bearer drop from his cocoon, leaving Fushiguro frozen. But then he sees Yuji and Kugisaki running up behind, and this is when the curse turns to them. It is then met by these sparks of black, turning its head to mush in an instant. Koksen! The mere strike of this punch releases a shockwave towards Fushiguro, who sighs, saying, yeah, thanks. No problem. Oh, look, it's going away. Already called Anita, says Kugisaki. Hi, yeah, we're good. Can you come pick us up, please? While she does this, Yuji picks up the finger as the innate domain turns to nothing, and Fushiguro approaches him asking, what are you going to do with it? Well, I can't eat it yet. My archive needs like 3 more days to analyze what I already ate. I took 3 more a while ago. You know how long it takes now? Yep, all in my brain. Breaking a playing piece, meanwhile, we cut to Choso as he turns paler than he already was. Hey, what the hell, says Mahito. My siblings. I can no longer sense them. Oh, so you can sense such things, says Geto. What happened to them? They were killed with a mere touch each. It's bizarre. I couldn't get much detail on them. But yeah, they're gone. Kenjaku just then gets a notification on his phone and checks it saying, oh, this just in. Yuji Itadori and his little friends were at the Yasuhachi Bridge for a mission. Both curse and half-curse show different emotion. One of ecstasy for Mahito and anger for Choso. Record of Shibuya Incident. On the 31st of November, a barrier of 400-meter radius is erected, inside of which there are multiple other barriers, and this entire huge 400-meter radius barrier is over Shibuya. It is currently 2018 still, but at 7 p.m., the massacre begins. Before that, though, we're going to have a flashback. Going for punch after punch, Yuji chases down Satoru, who keeps avoiding his hits when Yuji then drops, throwing a manji kick, which he has to block, and that's when a black flash occurs, sending him flying as he carves through the grass floor and manages to stop. Definitely did a bit more damage. I had to protect my jaw and arm with cursed energy. Holding his hands up, he then watches them as Yuji starts to see the lightning leaking off him, but when he looks closer, it seemed less and less like lightning, like he began to understand what it really was, and that's when the analysis catches up and his head would just hang forward, like he was dead. Don't tell me. He's analyzing the black flash. Oh, well, this is going to be something. Return to present. Seriously, why are we at a cemetery? Why are we still at a cemetery? Asked Yuji. Quiet, my sister wants peace. Yeah, kid, if you want to talk peace, do it after we save those people from Shibuya. That's what Gojo is for. Are you going to go save them all? Yeah, what, you two afraid to try? Caught in a stare, the two were essentially sizing one another up, but in anger, Ui says he must listen to his sister. Look, I'm sorry, but I hate having to rely on Sensei like this. He can't just take all of that on, and we're just going to lay back and do nothing, but my technique can actually help. Oh, hold on. She receives a quick call, and after getting it and hanging up, she stands, taking her weapon from Ui. We're heading to Meijingume. Try and keep up. We're going to be running. He pops a smile. No problem. Gojo Satoru, meanwhile, arrives on the scene as he lands on the tracks of the train station where he finds civilians kept at bay. But before him are the curses, who have finally shown themselves, with the exception of Dagon and Kenjaku. You again, huh? Close it up, Hanami. The opening he fell through is closed by tree branches. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. No need to do any of that. I'm still gonna kick all your asses. As the fight encloses, we then return to Yuji and his group as they enter their designated station. There they meet an auxiliary manager who takes them down to the first floor and begins to explain the situation. From what I can tell, there seem to be layer barriers reaching down, about 2 of them. But what is it? You can say it, says May. At the intersection where the barriers meet, the bottom one doesn't allow you to enter at all, but past that one, there are victims of a curse, transfigured humans. Slowly, the look on Yuji's face shows a rise of anger, and they all notice as he says, "It's him again. Mahito." "You know the curse?" asked Ui. "I exercised it, but it came back to life." The manager says that's impossible, but Yuji says clearly it is now possible. Nanami Sensei told me that it can manipulate the soul. It means my theories are becoming more true. Can we go down there? Follow me. Following the manager, she plans to show them an entrance towards the area which hold all these transfigured humans, but they come across a sitting woman as she will be shivering with gawking eyes. Yuji's first instinct is to approach and check on her. "It's okay, ma'am. You're gonna be okay." The moment he touches her shoulder, he begins to flow reverse curse technique. Because he can now see the contours of the soul like no one else and has held a transfigured human in his pocket dimension, he understands how Mahito twists the soul, so he knows how to unravel it, though it's very hard for him. So he's currently clashing 2 of his reserves to use reverse curse technique, and that's more of a complicated process if anything, but he needs a lot of energy right now, so that's why he has to do it. There were monsters everywhere, so many of them. They all got on the train. It's okay. You don't have to speak right now. There you go. The relief from healing slowly weakens her body as it relaxes and she passes out. Yuji catches her. "I didn't know reverse technique could be used like this," says May. "Used like what?" Though he did all this, Yuji did so instinctively and is not aware of how amazing this is, as he assumes Shoko could have done the same along with Gojo if they learned about souls the same way that he did. They cannot. "I'm not going to have a lot of chances to do that. Can you take care of her, miss?" Of course, but what about you guys?" asked the manager. As she asked this, however, we enter the battle between Gojo and the curses, now minus Hanami, as Gojo, with anger, would yank down Gojo's arm as he swings from behind, only to see that it was only his arm and nothing else. Amongst the panicking crowd, his gaze picks up on a running Jugo, now looking more confident for some reason. Just then from the side, an explosion of blood and mangled flesh carved through people, reaching Gojo but being kept at bay, but his view is blinded. Mahito then takes this chance and attacks as he pops a sword from his wrist, but he stops right as he reaches him. It really just stops, huh? Gojo quickly dispatches and throws him aside, but as he's in the air, he mentions something. You know the one thing I despise about people? There's so many of them. Just then, a train arrives. We cut to Yuji walking down the tracks of Meijingume when he takes notice of something that fell out of the sky, the ceiling, and he holds it forward, looking at it, inspecting it. It was an earpiece in his hand right now, which then spoke. It's me, Mechamaru. The moment he hears this, Yuji slams this object to the floor as it bounces back and he catches it, planning to destroy it. Hey, I'm on your side, you idiot. Shibuya train station. Gojo Satoru has been sealed, and yet still finds a way to keep his enemies guessing, as he has forced the seal to keep processing him, and it cannot be moved because, he's Satoru Gojo. The conspirators gathered around the prison realm, surprised that they actually managed to capture him at all. He's a pain for sure, says Mahito. Just then, in the corner of his eyes, he sees something and flings out his arm to the ceiling, shattering a monitoring piece of Mechamaru. Someone watching us. Kenjaku then says, seems we've been played. We then cut back to Yuji, who is now running across the empty streets of Shibuya, towards Shibuya, when Mechamaru then says their enemies have been halted by Gojo. Ha! Makes sense. I'm gonna speed this up. With quick swings, he throws out folders that nearly hit the floor but begin to float when he then jumps and lands on them, and he slides forward, gliding and cutting through the air with ease, all while shuffling his feet almost like he's rollerblading to keep from falling. That's actually exactly how he does it. He moves like he's rollerblading through the air. I thought your technique froze people. Oh, it does a lot more than that. Obviously, I'm not going to give you the details. He then presses down on the folders and makes them rise as they exit the barrier that he's actually in, and he actually begins to take to the sky. This would have been hard before, but his capacity is now bigger, so he can keep himself afloat faster and for longer periods. If I haven't mentioned that in the last part, I just want to make sure I mention it now again. So he reaches Shibuya in a matter of seconds with his current speeds and begins to slide down, seeing the carnage. In response, he holds his fists together. Ryoiki Tenkai. Just for a few moments, a world of nothingness cracks into reality, stunting the transfigured humans and normal humans. And right beside the transfigured humans, clones of Yuji appeared, bashing their heads in and killing them with one punch. The drain on his energy makes the folders shatter, but he turns his fists against one another and slams them against each other as he feeds the duplicates to his original, giving him new footholds that come to a float right as he's about to touch the floor. All the civilians are honestly shocked, confused mostly, but Yuji has no time and rises into the air again as he breathes in and shouts. His voice reverberates and luckily reaches Nanami's group. What? Did he actually just say that? Asks Fushiguro. Ino, in disbelief, looks to Nanami, who looks up and checks his glasses. Since when could Itadori fly? 2 weeks ago. Oh, that's him. He couldn't go that high before. He makes it look easy. Ino notices him too, and they start heading over because if he's being serious, then this means this is the beginning of the end of everything. When Itadori sees them getting closer, he flies down and drops, putting away the footholds. Nanami, Fushiguro, you guys need to hear this from him. So you were being serious then? Asked Fushiguro. What is that? As Yuji holds out the earpiece, Mechamaru speaks, surprising them as he then explains himself. And soon they get on board with this idea. I need to check on the auxiliary managers then. This is deeper than we thought. I need you and the boys to dispel the barrier. I'm trusting you. A feeling of overwhelming happiness runs through the body of the young sorcerer, as being trusted by Nanami is something very reputable since he's so, responsible and, reliable. As Nanami heads off to deal with his own troubles, Ino takes back the tears he was about to let out and he shouts, Alright guys, if we can't get Gojo out, literally everything collapses. His family is the spearhead of basically everything in Jujutsu society, and it's spearheaded by him. It's basically a one-man army. Because of him, people have been saved and killed. So what happens if all the people who were kept at bay for now find out that he's gone? Absolute chaos, says Yuji. Bingo! That's why we can't let this stand. It's a race to save Satoru. Come on, let's do this thing. Actually, about the barrier, says Yuji. I saw something up there. As they look to him, we cut to Awasaka as the old man waltzes to the edge of Shibuya Tower. You see him again? No sight of the flying child, Ogami responds. But, yeah, obviously it's gonna be an ambush, says Awasaka. Yo! Just then, they all turn to see Yuji falling as he lands, and they're surprised, but Awasaka doesn't care about his strategy. He must be a pretty tough kid, just walking in here like nothing. Down below, Ino asks if he's sure it's okay to let Yuji go alone. Look, honestly, he's not as strong as Sensei. No one is. But even he said dealing with his technique is annoying. He's shocked. What the hell is his technique? I thought he could just fly. A clash of fists occur as Yuji punches back Awasaka, who with a smile readies to strike again when he's then warped away right before his comrades. Grandma, stay behind. In an instant, he's uppercutted before being warped away as well, and Yuji walks towards the elder, who quickly stands when Yuji appears right behind her. See ya. She's then warped away herself, now residing in his archive, and walking towards the ceiling pins, Yuji would crush them. Then he goes down and they all enter, together, but have to split up when they get to the second floor of the train station. And Yuji forges on alone from that point, staying close to the original. Ooh, yep, I am definitely killing them. What the fuck? Yuji literally just got all the information about the people he just took in, so he's pretty disgusted. And by the way, Yuji gets basic facts about objects and people just to start out with. He doesn't get everything, but he gets basic facts about them. So honestly, after what he saw, they're basically getting executed. Making his way towards another staircase, he leaps down and his eyes slowly show him a pale figure waiting. That's him. Choso's gaze turns to meet his, and his mark would blister, bubbling like his anger. Their killer, their brother. He fires a piercing blood attack before we can even land, but upon this attack touching Yuji, Choso instantly has his cheek pierced as he's sent crashing and rolls. When he gets up, he looks back at Yuji, and the carving path of what nearly hit him literally lined across the wall behind him. It was bizarre. What just happened? Oh, that actually worked. I'm glad, since it helped me practice. Choso now understands that this man is strong, so instead he asks, my siblings, what happened to them? They're not dead. He's wide-eyed and asks where they are then. It's kinda hard to explain, but here. Holding his hands forward, he conjured folders, what the fuck is wrong with me? That shatter, releasing them as they fall forward to their knees. They're a bit discombobulated, but when they see Choso and he sees them, they can't help but run into another's arms. What's going on? A moment ago we were facing him. What happened? Asks Eso. Choso looks at Yuji, asking why he brought them back. Why is he being so forthcoming and kind? Well, I didn't understand it before, but somehow it seems we share the same blood. They're shook, completely frozen, as Ketsuzu says, Big brother, what's he saying? Eso shouts, he's just lying to us. I literally don't gain anything from doing that. I'll even put a binding vow on it. You would bet your soul for such a simple thing? Thank you for not killing my brethren, but your claim is one I can't accept. Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to. You know, it's funny. I know it's true, but I want to deny it too. I'm already off in the deep end, so don't die, I guess, especially now. He runs past them and heads for Gojo as he enters a dimmer area, having to use the lit signs for directions, and even they're kind of going out. He gets pretty far from the siblings when he then takes a left past the little store and swerves as he hears a ding. He looks far down the hall and an elevator slowly opens up, showing a smiling Jugo. Found you. Instantly, Yuji ducks, avoiding a laser as he forges forward, stepping as he cracks the floor, throwing a folder that travels faster than sound and piercing Jogo's cheek as he dodges to the left just barely, and it shatters, releasing a piercing blood scatter shot everywhere. He ducks and runs out as the elevator closes and the curse swings, generating volcanoes on the wall behind him, and they fire magma. A scared Yuji leaps as they cross and nearly melt him alive. His footholds then appear below his feet as he flies forward, slugging Jugo right into the doors of the elevator. He would crash into it, causing Mars to just spark and fly everywhere as the lights cut out for a quick moment. When they return, the volcanoes retreat as Yuji slowly floats down to the floor and stays off of it. Then he pushes down on one of the footholds, which slides him forward. Koksen! As he strikes, Jugo aims to block but feels his arm squish as his ribs dig into his lungs and he slowly coughs up blood. With a shout, he manages to push him off and fires a blast of purple flames, but Yuji just slides out of the way, moving his arms out of the blast's range. But then he also snaps, and the fire is warped away and fired back at Jugo, whose eyes open wide as he's shot with his own attack, melting through the wall and solid mounds of steel and cement. Yuji uses this path to lead him towards the curse, chases after him, avoiding circuit sparks and falling melting rubble before he grabs Jugo by the collar, when he's then gut checked and spews blood himself before being thrown into the air as he crashes through ceiling after ceiling until he rises into the air, catching the attention of Inumaki. Jugo then appears above him. You're such a pain for just a vessel. As he strikes with his heated fists, however, Yuji shatters on impact and just disappears, leaving the curse confused right as he's headbutted by a rising Yuji, releasing a shockwave so powerful that Jugo lost consciousness for a few moments. Yuji, while gritting his teeth, then pulls back and creates a platform to kick off of and cracks into his ribs once again with a thunderous kick. Just bring out Sukuna. Fuck you. With these words, Yuji chops at air as blood coagulates at his palm and fires, piercing through his neck. With the death painting siblings having been analyzed for so long, he now possesses the ability to use Wind King and manipulate blood like Kichizu and Eso, but by using Moondrag's poison, which he analyzed and mixed in, he courses this through his enemy at an extremely toxic level, which makes it a much more powerful attack. Jugo begins to fall as his veins bulge and course violently. The injuries he has sustained weren't enough to be healed with reverse cursed energy right away. However, he begins to heal regardless. But during this, he was also frozen because he came in contact with Yuji more than just once. Shit. Koksen! Yuji comes down as he hammers both his fists into his stomach, releasing the sparks of black again. The curse plummets, crashing through a parking lot, reaching into the lowest floor, and Yuji begins to descend, healing himself and determined to end this here. My time is still under effect. He eventually lands and finds the frozen Jugo on the ground and moves in, grabbing his head and slamming it to the floor and multiplying the time by 24 seconds, but only for 24 seconds. Again, there is a limit. What an interesting brat. Seriously though, I need to get out of here. Alright then. Moving down from his throne in an instant, Sukuna lands in the blood-red waters and smirks, putting his hands together. Ryoiki Tenkai. Yuji's heart would thump violently as his body trembles and he freezes before stumbling back. Jugo struggles to move and moves his cursed energy to help him get free, seeing this as a chance because something is clearly wrong with the kid, meaning that he's coming. Ryomen Sukuna, move. 20 seconds. Yuji enters the innate domain. You bastard! Ryoiki Tenkai. He clashes his fists together, expanding his already present innate domain, which was being overtaken, and the two eventually stood at the center point of the clashes as slashes fly out but are met by Yuji's second use of his domain as the boxes open up and grab them as well as absorb them. More are created, moving out and catching every single slash thrown as Sukuna's smirk just grows and grows. You can see it, huh? My cursed technique, you can see it. Oh, too bad you're annoying. This would be way more fun otherwise. 15 seconds remain. Among all the Shikigami contained in the 10 shadows, there's one that has never been fully exercised. その当主もこういう使い方をしたんだろう。古部ゆらゆら。10 seconds remain. I can't keep this on for long. His mastery is higher than mine. Think. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yuji Itadori reawakens as marks begin to fill his body when suddenly another Yuji is torn from the original and the second one is grabbed before being thrown into the air, gaining the marks and malicious grin of the king. "I'm finally free," shouts Jugo as he stands. In a flash, however, Yuji moves in. Koksen! He digs his punch into his face, blasting him with another black flash and slamming him to the floor. "Just fucking die!" His next blow spikes his hand through his stomach, skewering it and releasing another black flash, which explodes lightning from the inside of his body as it bulges and explodes, splattering Yuji with its blood. Both he and Sukuna feel the presence of a strong being and look up, and then a cackling Sukuna begins to run and disappears from sight. "You're not going anywhere." He moves in the blink as well as we cut to Mahoraga as he approaches Haruta, who cowers in fear. You bastard, Yasashi, wake up!" "Damn it, no. The palm of the Shikigami nears him and then swats him down like a fly. But then the Divine General feels no impact except for the crumbling of cement, and looks back seeing the heaving Yuji and a cocky Sukuna, both holding Haruta by the shirt. "Why did you help?" asks Yuji. Dropping Haruta just then, Sukuna runs and he reaches for Fushiguro, but his hand is then kicked aside, releasing a black flash right as that same foot from Yuji heads for his chest, and he blocks it, getting sent flying. He catches himself on a building and he just absolutely loses it. "You know what? Bring it on, brat!" Yuji throws aside Haruta before leaving behind a clone to heal Fushiguro while he advances and tanks the slash from Sukuna. The building behind is then sliced through, however, but he has not suffered damage. Domain amplification. But Mahoraga moves in on Yuji, swinging down with a sort of extermination. Shit! He blocks with his arm using domain amplification again as the ground beneath him is crushed and the building sliced by Sukuna begins to crumble. Fushiguro! Sukuna moves in just then, kicking Mahoraga aside while throwing his hand forward. Kai. In the same instant, the Yuji clone grabs Haruta and Fushiguro and moves away. Yuji is sent flying past two buildings and crashes through a window and lands on a desk. Turning on his stomach, however, he quickly pushes off the desk, avoiding a dismantle that cuts through the entire office and building. Mahoraga's back faces Yuji just then as he crashes into the office as well while going hand to hand with Sukuna. Each strike sending out slashes from Sukuna and every punch from Mahoraga just destroying everything with the shockwave. But then a black flash strikes into Mahoraga's knee, making the Shikigami buckle right as a clone is unveiled, crashing its foot into the back of the general's head, knocking it towards Sukuna, who sidesteps and throws a stack upon stack of cleaves towards Yuji, who begins to bat away at each one until Sukuna is grabbed and thrown out by Mahoraga, who resurfaces again. The beast then quickly goes after Yuji to get revenge, but with every hit thrown, Yuji avoids and slaps his hands together and fires a piercing blood attack, which hits its skin and slices through his chest, and then reaches to his shoulders and just almost rips it apart in half completely. Immediately, he then swings down, bringing a black box into reality. The sounds of a lock resonate as Yuji begins to bleed from his nose. I've already analyzed the 10 Shadows technique, so even if you can adapt to everything and anything, it just means I have to stun lock you. He snaps his finger, refilling his reserves, and in an instant he heals, grinding his teeth. Curse technique reversal. Yuji realized that unlike his sensei, Fushiguro, and a lot of people, his long-range options are limited, but also dangerous if used right. Mostly because he has to throw to actually go long range and his blood manipulation is amateur, he came up with these moves. He does something he quickly thought of before, but he couldn't do. Now he can. He released a black box into reality, like I said. It is massive and has the capacity to hold over 100 people, but by using the theory of simple domain, he can control its size and decrease it, allowing him to use a domain expansion ability without using it in his domain. The ability to suffocate and crush the soul is what he originally can do, but by using a reversal technique, because it's not just your soul that is being targeted, when your soul is damaged, he is not only able to crush the soul, but target it, and now he can actually tear it apart from a singular point. That's the reversal. Instead of crushing, he rips apart and tears away at. The box then shatters to small ones surrounding Mahoraga, who falls to a knee as he begins to shake and shiver. It clenches its teeth, trying to hold on to control of its body, but with his very soul constrained and being torn along with his body in every which way, this stopped the activation of his technique, and thus adapting to Yuji is not possible, as it is ripped to shreds as it screams. Maximum reversal technique. Hollow black. Oh shit, Fushiguro. Sukuna then makes a re-entrance as he slices the building apart from outside, and as it collapses, Yuji leaps through the dust, his eyes having changed in look and just demeanor in general. His pupils begin to dilate as he enters a zone-like state. That brat, he killed it, huh? What the? An explosion of cursed energy then just resounds as we cut to Yaga as he and Shoko run to Fushiguro, who is laid out on the floor for them. Alongside him, they see the headless body of Haruta. Shoko? Yeah, I can feel it. Something's going on with Itadori. With the clone disappearing, Yuji's true strength returns, and Sukuna is enticed as he kicks using air as a platform, using a combination of his invisible blades to kick off of and strike a hit right at Yuji's face, when his hand is then suddenly torn away and then it just disappears. His nub then explodes with blood. Yuji responds with a snap as he backs away, creating a blood orb right before Sukuna just is torn right into by that piercing blood attack, and he still manages to dodge and heal instantly, stacking and slashing over and over because it's Sukuna. But as they near him, they just disappear. I mean Yuji. The slashes just disappear as they near Yuji, and he begins to fall, as does Yuji, and they stare at one another. I spent far too long locked in that body of yours. You've awoken, huh? I guess I still don't know who I am yet. The real analysis begins now. The moment the two land, they clash with their mere strikes tearing the ground beneath, and they unleash upon another a volley of attacks. The ones Yuji would throw would each contain a black flash, while Sukuna aims to peel Yuji to pieces like a mere fish on a board. From afar, Kusagabe as well as Panda and Geto's family stop their fight and see the destruction of their brawl heading their way. Shit, it's Sukuna, says Kusagabe. Panda says, Itadori must have splintered from his body, otherwise we'd all be dead. He can do that? He can do that. Run! As they dash, the screams of Geto's men sound as the bridge they stood on is sliced to pieces. You're on a timer, Sukuna. 5 minutes on the clock. Go back. This will take you nowhere. With his next strike, Yuji uses a divergent fist, knocking back the king, and he also knocks a black flash into his stomach that leaves a gaping hole there, when Yuji himself then has an arm torn away. Both wince in immense pain but grit and heal, catching their falling body with their back foot. More. Give me more. They swing, meeting with another strike, which, though delayed, caused a massive amount of damage, and Sukuna himself uses black flash as well. This level of distortion in space takes out half a block, and the dust cloud covering them briefly dissipates right as Yuji moves in, whamming him in the face with another black flash. Fuck off. We're gonna do this again, brat. A black box would just appear around the king and then promptly disappear with him, leaving Yuji standing alone in the rubble. Refill. Oh, yeah. I have one more left. Should be enough. Meanwhile, Nanami Kento left disheveled with the previous attack of Jugo, and now just walking about would alternate between reality and dream. He notices not that he had passed Mahito, who simply watches him and smiles. Will Mahito's plan work? Will Nanami Kento live? Find out in the next part of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's been your boy. Hope y'all enjoyed this, and peace. I'm gone.